It's kind of unbelievable to me that it took me 17 years to play Portal, arguably one of the most influential and iconic games of all time, but in my defense, I was 3 when it came out. If me saying that I was 3 when Portal came out made you feel old, I'll let you have a minute to just soak that in, and we can get going with the video. All jokes aside, though, I decided to do a video on Portal because, true story, I went on howlongtobeat.com to find the shortest games to 100% I could, because Shovel Knight really drained the crap out of me and I wanted something easy. I landed on Portal because I had never played it. I figured it would be super fun, and I was one of the lucky few people to ever be able to play this game unspoiled and, pretty much going in blind. If you've never played Portal, or you don't know what Portal is, in the off chance that anyone out there doesn't know what Portal is, essentially you are a test subject for this company called Aperture Laboratories, not lavatories. But anyways, you test out this new portal gun that they've been testing, this technology, and yeah, that's pretty much the concept for the entire game. It's a very simple concept, but the physics-based puzzles make it very fun, so there doesn't need to be much more to that, and we'll explain a little bit more of the story as we go along, because it would be a lot less fun if I just spoiled it right now. Welcome to the 100, the series where I 100% complete 100 games over the span of however long that's going to take me, and rank them in 5 different categories. Those categories being gameplay, atmosphere, variety, uniqueness, and music. Today, we're doing Portal. Before we get into it, really quick, if you're one of the lucky few to have never played Portal and never been spoiled on Portal, it's $10 on the Steam store. Go buy it, spend the afternoon finishing it, and come back to this video. It is well worth playing through the game and not being spoiled if you have that opportunity. Portal came out in a pre-Five Nights at Freddy's world where not every single game that came out had to be stuffed to the brim with lore and secrets and all that kind of thing, so the story is honestly quite simple, but it really doesn't need anything more than to be exactly what it is. That's not to say that the story leaves anything to be desired. It just doesn't need all the lore and secrets hidden away to make it interesting or keep you entertained. Now, that's also not to say that those games that are packed full of lore don't have their place. Of course they do. It's been massively successful as a formula. I just don't think that Portal would have succeeded with a formula like that, and I think it did a perfect job conveying the story the way that it did. We wake up in a little cell, almost, with a little bed and a radio beside us, and we're locked in this room, and we're let out via a portal, and over the next few levels, it essentially introduces us to the portal technology and how it works, and gives us a quick rundown on how we can use it to our advantage. Eventually, after a few puzzles with fixated orange portals and using our blue portal exclusively to get around, we eventually get to a level where we collect both parts of the portal and get the orange portal, which also leads to our first achievement, Lab Rat, for acquiring a fully powered Aperture Science handheld portal device, which is apparently the full name of the portal gun. Now, I'm not going to go through every level. The ones that are important I'm going to go over slightly, but those will mostly come later. Next up, we have the Terminal Velocity achievement, which only took me about 5 minutes to get after acquiring the second part of the portal gun, and that's for falling 30,000 feet. I don't remember exactly how long it took to hit that number, but I'm pretty sure I just set up 2 portals and fell for a while, walked away and got food, and by the time I came back I had the achievement. Next up is the first level in specific I want to talk about, and that is Test Chamber 16. It also comes with our next achievement, Friendly Fire, for knocking down a turret with another turret, but it gives us our first glimpse into more of the underlying story of this game with, I believe, the first instance of what most people call Ratman dens. And essentially what these Ratman dens are is a small glimpse into what the facility doesn't want you to see. It's more industrial, it's less clean and polished, and what we've got on the walls are things like the cake is a lie, because GLaDOS has been telling us that by the end of the game there will be a cake if we succeed and all this stuff. So this is the first time that we see anything like that might push us in the direction of the fact that something probably isn't right. Not to mention the fact that we're literally in a military firing range, essentially, right now. So that's also a little bit part of it. In the next level, we are presented with a companion cube to help us get through the level, and this leads to our next achievement, fratricide. The description is to do whatever it takes to survive, but it's essentially for euthanizing our companion cube, and I know that sounds weird, but those are the game's words, not mine. There is another Ratman den on this level, but it's pretty small and generally quite similar to the last one, and really all of the other ones too, so I'm not going to touch too much on them. Alright, so we're officially on the final level of the game now, Test Chamber 19, and this is going to be your final warning. If you have not played the game, go play it. If you don't want to get spoiled, there will be major spoilers from this point on. So, now that you've been warned, we can get to it. Right at the end of the level, we come around the corner and we see a big, fiery, pretty much incinerator right in front of us. And GLaDOS tells us that we need to just remain still and let it happen, because we couldn't possibly die here. But obviously, she's trying to kill us. And then they start playing this absolute panic-inducing banger. Now, at this point, GLaDOS gets upset, asks us what we're doing, why we went off course, and then tries to bring it back and save us as if that was somehow part of the test as a whole. But obviously, she's just trying to cover her ass, and that wasn't part of the test. But this is where we got our next achievement, Party Goer, for making the correct party escort submission position.
Then lie on your stomach with your arms at your sides. A party associate will arrive shortly to collect you for your party. Make no further attempt to leave the testing area. Assume the party escort submission position or you will miss the party.
I don't much care for parties or cake either, really, for that matter, so I just decided not to, and so I left. We spend the next half of the game making our way through the bowels of the facility, if you will, the parts that you're not supposed to see, much like we saw in the Ratman dens. About 30 minutes later, I get my next achievement, long jump, for jumping 300 feet. Soon after we got that achievement, we make our way into this long tunnel, which leads into the final boss room, where we meet GLaDOS, and she essentially says that we should just give up and die.
The only thing you've managed to break so far is my heart. Maybe you could settle for that, and we'll just call it a day.
Of course, we don't just give up, and we start off the fight by throwing her little module into the incinerator.
You're kidding me. Did you just stuff that Aperture Science thing, we don't know what it does, into an Aperture Science Emergency Intelligence Incinerator? That has got to be the dumbest thing that... Whoa. Good news. I figured out what that thing you just incinerated did. It was a morality core they installed after I flooded the enrichment center with a deadly neurotoxin to make me stop flooding the enrichment center with a deadly neurotoxin. So get comfortable while I warm up the neurotoxin emitters. Oh, that core may have had a lot less.
So maybe incinerating that core wasn't exactly the best idea, but I mean, really, what choice did we have, right? We finish out the rest of the boss fight by blowing her up quite a few times with the rocket launcher she gave us, pretty much for free, and incinerating all of the rest of her, basically reducing her down to basically nothing of a conscience, blowing up the facility and showing back up outside of the facility. The credits roll, and we are gifted with another absolute banger of a song. This one sung by GLaDOS. Gotta hear that one. And then we get going with our next set of achievements.
Aperture Science. We do what we must
because we can.
So, for all of our hard work and dedication for beating Portal, which honestly only took about 2 hours, we get our next achievement, Heartbreaker, for completing Portal. And from this point on, the achievements are going to get, for the most part, pretty simple. I'm going to group the next 3 together. Cupcake, Fruitcake, and Vanilla Crazy Cake for beating 2, 4, and 6 Portal Advanced maps, respectively. The Portal Advanced maps are nothing too crazy, to be honest with you. They are really just slightly harder versions of regular Portal maps. Like, one of them is one of the original Portal maps, except instead of a regular floor, it has a lava floor. And just stuff like that, really. Now, this next achievement is a little bit of a different one. This one is called Transmission Received, and essentially, the description of it literally is just a question mark. But to get this achievement, you have to take all of the little transmitter radios that are in every level, and you have to bring them to a certain point in that level. And once you do that, you're done. Now, next up, we've got another 3 achievements grouped together. These ones, they could be considered probably the most difficult. They are Basic Science, Rocket Science, and Aperture Science for earning Bronze, Silver, and Gold, respectively, on each of the Portal challenges. Now, this sounds easier than it is, but for every one of the Portal challenge maps, there's 3 separate challenges that go along with it. The first one being the lowest amount of possible portals used on each level. The second one being the lowest possible amount of steps taken on each level. And the third one being the least amount of time taken in each level, which it really doesn't sound that bad, and I didn't think it was going to be that bad, but some of your thresholds are really, really low. Alright, now we are officially on to the final achievement of the game. This achievement is Camera Shy, and essentially to get this achievement, all you gotta do is go around and detach, not attach, each and every one of the 33 cameras throughout the entire game. If you miss one, you have to restart from the beginning. That is definitely the most annoying part that I did not realize. You have to do it all in one run of the game. Really, it isn't so bad once you know that, but if you don't know that and you're trying to skip around to levels and just get the ones you thought you missed, like I did, it's not going to work out. Now, at this point, we have technically 100%ed Portal, and that leads us to, I don't know about you, but this is my favorite part of the video. It's time to get to the numbers. So, in my journey to 100% Portal, I unlocked 15 achievements over 3 different playthroughs, totaling 15 and a half hours, which honestly really wasn't too bad. It was a pretty fun experience overall, and I absolutely would recommend it if somebody is trying to get their first 100% completion, or they just want to relax and play a game all the way through, see every bit of it. Portal's a great one to do. Alright, now, without further ado, let's get to the ranking. So, first up, we've got gameplay. And the gameplay in Portal is very simple, it's very engaging, and it's quite fun overall. It's going to get a 17. Next up, we've got atmosphere. And just like the gameplay, it's quite simple. It's a very, I don't want to say bland, because really the atmosphere is not bland, but it's a very sterilized atmosphere, at least for the first half of the game. But the game presents it perfectly, and so it's also going to get a 17. Now, variety, probably going to end up being the worst score for Portal, just because really there isn't much variety in the gameplay until the boss fight, and for that reason it's only going to get a 10. Now, uniqueness is definitely going to be better than variety. The game is quite unique in its presentation and how it treats physics puzzles and the way that it treats the boss fight and all that kind of thing, so it's going to get a 16. The music of the game we have talked about briefly, but it gets an 18. It's my highest score for the game, which is crazy, but my reasoning is that even though the music is not incredibly commonly utilized, the times that it is utilized, it's absolutely phenomenal. Alright, now we get to see the final score of Portal, which will be 78 out of a possible total of 100, of course.
It sits solidly in between Shovel Knight and Dredge. Honestly, it ranked lower than I was expecting it to. I think I think the way that I rank it didn't do Portal very many favors. So who knows? Maybe we'll adjust the rating process in the future. I'm sure we will. We're 3 videos into a 100 episode series. I'm learning. I'm figuring it out as I go. But with that being said, I really appreciate you making it this far in the video. If you did make it this far in the video, clearly you like something about it, so you might as well go ahead and like and subscribe. Doesn't cost anything, takes hardly any effort from you, so you might as well just do it, right? I've got more videos on the way. I'm doing Hades next. That one should be really fun, to be honest with you. I'm going to be streaming it on Twitch. I will put my Twitch link up there right now, and you get to enjoy this fantastic song that I talked about earlier. Bye-bye.
This was a triumph. I'm making a note here, huge success. It's hard to overstate my satisfaction. Aperture science. We do what we must because we can. For the good of all of us, except the ones who are dead. But there's no sense crying over every mistake. You just keep on trying till you run out of cake. And the science gets done and you make a neat gun for the people who are still alive. I'm not even angry. I'm being so sincere right now. Even though you broke my heart and killed me and tore me to pieces and threw every piece into a fire. As they burned, it hurt because I was so happy for you. Now these points of data make a beautiful line, and we're out of data, we're releasing on time. So I'm glad I got burned. Think of all the things we learned for the people who are still alive. Go ahead and leave me. I think I prefer to stay inside. Maybe you'll find someone else to help you. Maybe Black Mesa.